All right. Hello, LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me here live. I actually uh, just got an error saying that I'm not live on LinkedIn. So if you are joining from LinkedIn, please let me know if it's working or not. StreamYard just threw me an error, but then it said you're fine. So I'm just going to keep talking and see if people join. If you do join, please say hello so I at least know that the stream is working. Um, Hi, thank you for tuning in. I'm super excited today because I'm actually launching the DATAcated Storytelling Course. I've worked, I don't even know how many hours on putting this course together, and today's the day that I can finally say it is done until I find something else that I would like to tweak or a way to improve it. For now, I'm going to consider it done, and all I can do at this point is just sit here and answer any questions that people have about the course. So I decided to put together this live stream. All right, it looks like we are live since I got Steve here saying hello, and we got sirens in New York. So Steve probably hears it too. That's my brother. He lives a few miles away, so chances are those sirens are going to be heard across several neighborhoods. Anyways, thank you again all for joining, and let me just get right into it. So today I want to cover a couple of things. I do have some notes here in terms of what I want to tell you about, but if you have any questions on data storytelling or data visualization or the course or the DATAcated Academy or the DATAcated conference, definitely put those in the chat. The other thing I'll say is 3 people who ask really great questions today will actually get a chance to win the DATAcated Storytelling course for free. So I will pick 3 winners, and I'll announce them after this live stream. So definitely put your comments and questions in for a chance to win. All right. Hi, Chanel. I see you there. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to start with, why did I create this course? Now, I've been telling stories with data probably for the past 6.5 or 7 years. And it all started out with me just putting together some basic data visualizations in Tableau, Power BI, Click, and then quickly realizing that there are things we can do to those data visualizations, right, to those default settings of the charts and graphs that can really help us tell the story. And this is part of what I cover in the DATAcated Storytelling course. I will go through the curriculum and kind of what is covered, but for now, I'll keep things high level and just give an introduction. Peter Bowl is here saying first time. Hello. Hi, Peter. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for saying hello. It's always more fun when people actually engage and say hi. So if you are just tuning in right now, I will let you know that if you have questions or comments, I will be selecting 3 people to win a free DATAcated Storytelling course, which will be announced after this live stream. All right, so who is this course for? Now, my ideal course participant, I would say, ranges from an entry-level data analyst to a seasoned data scientist, both who really want to learn how to tell stories or more impactful stories with data. Because in the course, what we cover is, what is a data story? What is an impactful data story? What are some things we can do for making data visualizations more effective? Some best practices, such as the proper use of color, being intentional with how you format things, the sizing and the font type of your text. So it goes on and on and on. All right, let me just check into the comments here. We've got Matthew. Hello, Matthew. How's it going? We've got LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who that is, but hello to you. Anyways, now, one thing I wanted to share, because I had one of the students who just signed up recently. He asked me what was my setup like for recording this course. Now, one thing I'll tell you is I recorded the whole course standing up. I'm standing up right now. I decided, who needs to sit anymore? My back is probably going to thank me in the future for not sitting all day. And what I did is I created a makeshift standing desk for myself to work. And then when it came time to start recording the content for this course, I was like, hey, maybe I should stand, because you tend to project better, you get more energy, and you get to walk around a little bit, and you don't just sit there all stiff. So I actually have a picture that my husband took of my setup, which I will share with you in a minute. Let me just check in on the comments. But yeah, so this guy messaged me and he's like, hey, I love the quality of the video and the audio. Can you send me like, what was your setup like? So I sent him this photo, and in his mind, he's probably like, wow, this is some weird setup, because as you'll see in the photo, it is not a standard standing desk, or, you know, it's not very professional, but the content that you get on the other side, I think it looks really good. So let's see who we've got here. Let's see. Scott Taylor, new camera and hairdo. Yes, so the camera is new. Scott, thanks for noticing. So it's an 4K Ultra HD camera that I got for like $45 on Amazon. I was ready to pay a couple $100 because I'm like, I really want to invest. I want to make this course really good, great quality. I got a new mic. I don't know if you guys can see and hear the new mic, but it's a Blue Yeti. Probably has to be closer to me for it to be more effective. Maybe no, I can't keep it up there. Anyways, so I got a new mic, I got a new camera, and the camera ended up being only $45 because when I was on Best Buy trying to buy the $200 camera, they didn't have it in stock. So I went to Amazon to see for something similar and ended up saving $150. All right, so do I have Instagram? That's a lot of question marks. Yes, DATAcated on Instagram at DATAcated. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is actually really embarrassing, but at the same time, I want you to see the behind the scenes photo of how I actually recorded the DATAcated Storytelling course. All right, so there I am. I borrowed a painting from my mother's room that I wanted to use in the background of my video. You see the microphone there. You see my desk that I'm currently working on and a chair on top of that desk. Yes, that is my standing desk. I've got the microphone on there, my laptop. You'll even see some clothes up in the corner there. But this is exactly how I recorded the 3.5 or 4 hours of content, which actually took a lot longer than 3.5 to 4 hours to actually record. So yeah, let's see. Let's check in on the comments. Neil says he's a beginner. Thank you for this. Intrigued about data science. Great. Welcome, Neil. Let's see. Emma, simple changes to color can be really impactful to help people interpret the data. Absolutely. Need to make it as easy as possible for the end user. If they need to think about what they're looking at, then the message is already lost. Yes, I cover a whole section on the proper use of color. I think the number one rule I would tell people is to be intentional. Start with the black and white or grayscale mode, and then actually use color intentionally to help you tell the story, to either drive focus on alert or highlight some kind of trend. Definitely I cover all of that. Okay, let's see. Andrew just came off a 2-hour of Zoom lecturing, interested in the setup. Okay, well, there's the setup. I'm actually going to remove it now because it is it's interesting. Let's see, just looking at the comments. Derek, Yeti is a solid go-to for streamers, podcasters. Thank you. Yes, I really love the sound. Peter, whatever works, all looks great. Video is excellent. Yeah, thanks a lot for that, because I was worried, paying only $45 for a video camera, but it said 4K. And I recently heard that YouTube is promoting mostly 4K video now. So everyone's shifting over to 4K. If you need to invest in a camera, definitely let me know. Happy to send you the link. I'm not an affiliate or anything. I just, I like sharing. So let's see. Question here from Archana. Does the course cover infographics? So I don't necessarily go into infographics. I actually even advise against the data visualization art, the really fancy data visualizations that people come up with, unless you're using that for just attracting your audience or customers. It can be really difficult for people to interpret a data visualization or chart graph that they've not seen before, that they're not familiar with. So as long as you can either explain it to people, or if there's a really big purpose for it to be a really fancy design, I say stick with as simple as possible and use whatever chart or graph gets your message across as quickly as possible. Okay, so One question is from Ravit. What is one thing that is unique about your course? And congratulations. Thank you so much, Ravit. I would say the one unique thing about this data storytelling course, and I am very well aware that there are so many data storytelling courses out there, is that I actually include some psychology behind telling stories in general, not just data stories, but how do you actually tell a story? What are the components of an impactful data story? And then I also provide presentation tips. So in addition to all the data stuff, you also get the basics of all the storytelling. Let's see. Osama, do you feel you become a better data professional by teaching others? I definitely do feel more confident in my skills once I'm able to either record a video or train somebody else on how to do things. Because when you can train somebody else, that means you know it well enough to explain it to somebody else. So let's see. Surab asks a great question. What would be covered? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to go ahead on over to the DATAcated Academy, and I'm going to select the course. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen once again. I'll do this so it's easier for you to see. So basically, the DATAcated Storytelling Course is, guide to telling impactful stories with data. Now, after completing this course, you will be confident in delivering impactful stories with data. And this course is really for either data analysts or data scientists or anyone who really wants to understand telling stories with data. Here's the course outline, but one thing I'll show you that I think is even more impactful is let me scroll all the way down, is the curriculum. Okay, so you can find that if you go to the DATAcatedAcademy.com. By the way, we do have a sale running currently. I kind of skipped past that, but I do want to let you know that until 4 p.m. Eastern, so basically another hour and 48 minutes, we have a 50% off sale as part of the pre-sale process because the course officially goes live at 4 o'clock today. Okay, but you've asked what will be covered, so here we go. So you're able to see the full curriculum as to what is covered in the course, how long each section is, and you can even preview a couple of the sessions for free just to get a sense for the style. I think it's super useful to show people the teaching style because some people might love it, some people might hate it, and you should definitely preview as much as you can before purchasing the course. So we start out with the importance of data storytelling. What is it? We go through some examples, discuss exploratory versus explanatory data analysis, talk about stories from data points. Then we move on to section 2, which is all about the component of an impactful data story, keeping it simple, focusing on one story at a time. Don't let the data speak for itself. I think one of my favorite areas is don't bury the lead. It's all about titles and how we write effective titles. And then if you click the expand button, we kind of go on and on. So there's a data storytelling process. We talk through the entire data storytelling process. There's a pretty large section on visual best practices and what's the data visualization process, how do we reduce cognitive load, chart versus graphs. I go through a full chart selector guide, and there are several charts within each of these sections. We go through all the best practices for each of those charts. Let's see, Gestalt principles. We go through a full visual best practices checklist, then move on to actually presenting your data story and how do we communicate to different audience types. Then we have some more practice and presentation tips. And then we do have some bonus materials from prior sessions that LinkedIn Live sessions that I did with Cole and Alberto. Then we also have the Slack group. So I'm just going to quickly scroll up to here because one thing, if you're not really interested in maybe getting the course, but you do want the DATAcated chart selector guide, you can actually get that for free. If you just go on this DATAcated Academy site, you can download the chart selector guide, which I believe is 25 to 30 page PDF here. Just fill out your information and you'll get this full PDF kind of small ebook type of document that gives you some best practices across. Oh, I guess it didn't open. Let me just open it here. Yeah, when you click that link, it will take you to this page where you can fill out the information and get the PDF for all of these charts. Okay, let me get back on screen here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the comments and see. So my brother's asking if there's a discount for family members. Of course, you get 99% off, Steve. That's only if you actually take the course. I know data could be interesting for most people on here, but my brother is not a data analyst. Maybe he'll want to take the course. Who knows? So would be cool. All right, let me go back down to the questions. Okay. Price and time. Sura, great question. So the price for the course is $475. But if you buy it in before 4 p.m. Eastern today, you actually get the 50% off as part of the pre-sale. So, and in terms of the other question was time, I believe it's somewhere between 3.5 hours to 4 hours. That's not including that bonus section. So you do have plenty of content there. My goal was to not make it the longest course ever. I personally don't enjoy taking really long courses. I want to be able to transform data analysts, data scientists into data storytellers in as little time as possible. I want to basically give the tools and the processes that are available to enable you to tell stories of data without holding you hostage for 10, 15 hours in front of your computer. So, Ravit, what is your favorite part from the course? I know it is difficult to pick any, specific part because it's like my big baby, but I feel like the parts that talk about actually the psychology of telling stories. I'll talk about one of my favorite sections, and it's called The Curse of Knowledge. Basically, we talk about how difficult it is to teach somebody something that you know really well, or to tell a story about a topic that you're really familiar with. And I actually learned this from a book called Make It Stick by Dan Heath. And they're actually brothers. I forgot the other guy's name. Really interesting concept. So whoever's listening now, you can try this with a family member, a friend, a colleague, whatever. But sit somebody down next to you and write down the name of a song for yourself. And then don't show that person the name of that song. So let's say the song is Happy Birthday, right? Most people are familiar with the Happy Birthday song. And then tell that person to guess which song you're tapping. So there was an experiment done on listeners and tappers. So for tapping, I just mean like this. Okay, so one person's the listener, one person's the tapper, and basically the listener has to guess what song the tapper is tapping. So now the tapper knows the song is Happy Birthday. And in their mind, they're tapping it out perfectly, right? Happy birthday to you, and so on. And the interesting thing is almost nobody from the test group actually guessed the song that the tapper was tapping because of the curse of knowledge. Now, the person who knows the song is humming along the song in their head. They can't help it, right? How else would they tap? They need that beat in their song, that flow of the song. But the listener only hears random, they just hear random taps. So the tappers were actually really shocked to find out that the listeners couldn't guess the song that they were tapping because it was so clear to them. And this concept applies to telling stories with data. We get so comfortable with the data that we're working with that we literally can't imagine what it's like to be in that other state of mind where we don't already know this. And it makes it really difficult for us as storytellers to get everyone on the same page and following with that message. So that was definitely my favorite part. Let's see. Oops. Okay, I'm just going back to the questions. Okay, Osama, is the course interactive? Does it challenge the students to solve problems while still providing best practices? So the course is mainly focused on teaching you the best practices. We don't have a project at the end that says, tell me your data story. But we do have a Slack group where you can actually join and ask questions to me and others on the team where we can help guide you if you do want some more, hands-on approach. So let me just go back to some of the other areas I wanted to talk about. Okay, yes. So if you are just joining right now, quick reminder, and if you're still listening, I am giving away 3 of the DATAcated Storytelling courses, basically to celebrate the launch today. Mostly I'm celebrating the fact that I no longer have to record, edit, upload, and think through the best way to cover concepts in data storytelling. But part of me is actually going to miss that, because that's literally what my world has been revolving around for the past couple of weeks or months. Okay, so at the end of the course, everyone gets a certificate for completing your course. Just thought I'd let you know that you do get a certificate. I want to talk about the format. Now, I walked through the curriculum briefly, but I just want to let you know all of this is on demand. It's pre-recorded, so you can basically take the course at your own leisure. You don't have to sign in at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. You could do it whenever you're comfortable and take the course at your own pace. You don't have a time by which you need to complete all lectures, before losing access. So it's fully on demand. The other question I get quite often is, which product are we using? Because we're telling stories with data, right? We have to visualize that data. And there's so many products available for visualizing data. We can use Tableau, Power BI, Click, ThoughtSpot, Telly. There's just so many ways to tell stories with data. And my whole point in this course is to be product agnostic. Whatever tool you're using, if you're using crayons and paper, if you're using some, R, Python, Tableau, it doesn't really matter. The concepts are all the same. You're telling stories with data. You need a clear title. You need a clear chart or graph, proper use of, color, reducing clutter, and so forth to help you tell that story. So product agnostic. Downloadable resources. Now, a couple of things you get as part of the course are the DATAcated chart selector guide. You also get the DATAcated checklist, which is this one-pager that gives you a checklist of making sure, okay, did I remove grid lines or put them in the background? Did I remove redundant color legends if I don't need them? So it takes you through a whole checklist of how do you make your data visualization go from looking good to really looking great. Also, one thing I strongly believe in is if people are not satisfied with the course, full refund as soon as you ask for it, because there's nothing worse than paying for something, not liking it, and then having been, that feeling of being stuck paying for something that you didn't even want. So definitely want to let you know that there is a 30-day full refund for all the courses on the DATAcated Academy. And then the Slack group, which I already discussed. So those were some of the things that I wanted to walk through. I'm going to quickly go back to some of the questions. So Alvaro's asking, is there a requirement of knowledge of any programming languages? So as mentioned, this is product agnostic, which just means that you can use R or Python to visualize your data and tell your stories, but you don't have to. So no, it all depends on the tool of your choice. Now, I did use, I think, mostly Tableau for all the visuals, just because I'm comfortable with that tool, but you can literally use any data visualization tool to tell your data story. Let's see. Andrew's asking 50% off data to dashboard as well. Oh, thanks for that promo, Andrew. So at the moment, I don't have a sale on data to dashboard, but I do have a couple of courses on there. We've got the data to dashboard with Tableau and data to dashboard with Power BI. I'm actually going to include somewhere between 18 to 20 additional data to dashboard courses as part of a series. So we'll have data to dashboard with Click, data to dashboard with Excel, data to dashboard with Plotly Dash, and R Shiny, and all those other courses. Chanel, not sure if I missed it, but how long is the course? So the course is around 3.5 hours of video content, plus we do have some more in the bonus section where I'm interviewing Cole Knaflick and Alberto Cairo, and that's actually freely available on YouTube as well, but I include that as part of the course because I want to make sure people watch it. There are some really cool golden nuggets of information from those interviews. So that's another 2 hours. But yeah, the goal here was to make the course long enough for you to get the value, but short enough that you actually sit through the whole thing. There's some crazy statistic out there that there's a really low percentage. I don't remember the exact number, so I won't throw it out. But there's a really low percentage of people who sign up for a course that actually take it. And part of that reason is because it's overwhelming. If you sign up for a course that's 15 to 20 hours long, there's a very small chance that you'll actually sit through the whole thing. It's similar to getting a really big book or a textbook. You feel more intimidated, so you might not go through the whole thing. So my goal is to get everyone who starts the course to actually take the full course and become data storytellers. Okay, I'm going to go back to the questions now, and definitely feel free to ask me anything else you want about data storytelling or the course. Let's see. Let's see. So Archana is asking, does the course teach you how to provide data insights? Now, part of the data storytelling process is to uncover insights. And one thing I do cover in the course is not every insight is equal. So they have to be, really important to your audience. So I definitely cover how do we actually pull those insights and which insights should we be thinking about when we tell those stories. There's also a really big focus on the audience and trying to understand what is the problem that undermine, who are the characters that are living in their life or in their brains, basically, and making sure that you tailor to your audience and give them the value and the data that they actually care about and that they're thinking about. Okay, let's see. Asking for a friend, can I learn how to win the lottery if I learn data science? Why doesn't another data person in this chat answer that question? I've got no answer at all. So Scott says everyone has a data story to tell. Yes, absolutely, Scott. And I actually also cover as part of the course that every data point has a story. And I know some people like to argue that point because they say that no, the data points all have to be put together and combined in order to tell that story. But if you think about it, every single data point that is in your database has some sort of story. For example, if you have a purchase, let's say my 4K camera, and I bought this camera, that one data point already has a story. It talks about me, who am I, where do I live, when did I buy this camera, what did I search for before I bought this camera, right? There's a lot of data points in there, even though it's only one item on their line of purchases, let's say for Amazon, it still tells that story. Okay, let me go back to the questions. Okay, so there's a question in here of what makes a data story, effective? That's a great question, Matthew. It depends on what you're trying to get across to your audience. But I would say the simplest way to make a data story more effective is to get your data message across to your audience in the simplest, most effective way possible, right? So if you can put together either a data visualization or some sort of presentation that gets your message across in the simplest way possible, I would say that's effective. It doesn't have to be fancy by any means. It has to be simple. It has to use the right pre-attentive attributes that make people look at it and right away say, oh, okay, I know exactly what they're trying to tell me. I would say that's what makes it effective. Okay, question from Osama. So how do you feel data storytelling is different doing it online versus in an office environment? I feel though it's harder working remote. Yeah, I actually cover parts of that in the course in terms of the different audience types that you could be telling your data story to, because you can have a live setting, right, where it's a lot easier because you get that human feedback of, are people confused? You can see their faces. Yeah, you can see them on Zoom, but sometimes people, are playing with their phone or they're not even looking at the camera. So yeah, it's definitely harder, but at the same time, it's not impossible. As long as you take breaks in your data story and you ask for feedback and you ask people if they're still following or if they have questions, I think that's really important when you're delivering something virtually. So any more questions or comments? I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm used to doing these sessions as interviews, and it's a lot easier because all I really have to do is ask a question and people do the rest of the work. So I want to remind everybody there's 90 minutes left to take advantage of that 50% off pre-sale. But also I want to let people know that on January, I believe it's the 28th. Let me go ahead and pull that up to make sure I'm giving you correct information. We have an event coming up with Pact that I really want to tell you about. So let me go ahead and pull that up here so I can share it. Okay, here we go. All right, so machine learning for algorithmic trading with Stefan Jansen. So here is his, I believe, 800-page book. I can't even imagine how long this took. Stefan, yeah, it's almost 800 pages. It's a book on machine learning for algorithmic trading. We're actually going to go live, and I'm going to be interviewing Stefan, and we're going to talk about machine learning and for algorithmic trading. So I'm going to put a link in our, I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat here for anybody who wants to join that session. Free to join, and you can also win books. So that's always a bonus, right? I'm going to go ahead over to LinkedIn and share that right now. In the meantime, if you do have questions, please put them in, and I'll be back in 1 second to go ahead and answer them. Also, as I'm doing this, if you have not signed up for the DATAcated conference, definitely recommend you sign up for that. I'll put a link in the chat as well. So let me just put link for Pact session. Okay, that's one. I just want to make sure that that you get the link, because I know it's hard to find these things sometimes online. Okay, so here's the link for that, and then I'll also put the link for the conference. That's also free to attend. We actually have a full day dedicated to data storytelling. If you'd like to join that, I definitely want to make sure I give you the link for that. Now that the course is done, I'm switching focus. So if you're following me on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else, chances are that's all I'm going to be talking about for the next 2 weeks. So the conference is on February 9th. We have, just about 2 weeks left. Here I'm going to put join our free conference, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that in there. All right. So definitely feel free to join. So Derek has an answer for Steve. You can learn how to calculate how astronomically small your odds of winning the lottery are. Thank you, Derek. Absolutely. So in other words, work hard, stop playing the lottery, and yeah. Although I know if you don't play, you don't win, right? Okay. Question here from Andrew. Would this be useful for a data beginner that owns and operates a small business? I would say it depends if you need to tell data stories. Now, if you're telling data stories, it depends on the type of small business that you have as well. If part of your business is, let's say you're a consultant or advisory company, and you want to show some success stories from your prior clients, definitely, because you're going to learn how to tell stories, not only with data, but stories in general. And stories are really what we use to get any message across. Right now, I'm telling stories, right? I started off with my behind the scenes. I started off with, why am I even building this course? What are some of my motivations? And people like stories. Believe it or not, they rather listen to stories than anything else. So I would say it depends. You know, if you've got like a bagel store or something, not sure that would be a fit for you unless it's like a really big chain of bagel stores. I only bring that up because that was one of my first jobs, was working in a bagel store. But yeah, at this time, I think I'm going to start wrapping things up, and I'm going to announce winners after 4 p.m. Actually, no, after 3 p.m. So in about half an hour, I'm going to announce the 3 winners for the DATAcated Storytelling course, and I will tag you in there. I definitely appreciate you all hopping on and staying with me while I talk about the course. Really, really super excited about the launch and finally being done with it. It's truly a great, great feeling. So, all right, on that note, thank you. Have a good rest of your Thursday. Yes, today's still Thursday. And I will see you on LinkedIn. Let's end this stream. There we go. All right. Bye, everyone.